Would you be blameless in a default situation?
On the merits, based on what I've offered, I would be blameless. On the politics of it, no one will be blameless. I think there are some MAGA Republicans in the House who know the damage that it would do to the economy. And because I am president, and presidents are responsible for everything.
Joining us now, host of Varney and Company, An American Built on Fox Business, Stuart Varney. Now, this is a guy who said he's never going to negotiate. Right. But now he says, after my negotiations, if you still don't pass it, I'm blameless. It's up to you, the MAGA Republicans. It's y'all's fault.
Of course he has a lot of the blame to take in this instance. Sure. He can't negotiate because his left wing won't let him. His left wing runs the Democrat Party. If he even suggests any kind of spending cut, they'll jump down his throat and dismiss it. Sure. For example, they won't even allow Biden to allow able-bodied people with no dependents to work 20 hours a week to receive welfare. They won't agree to that. The Democrats absolutely say flat out no. Yeah, he did. Oh, that's a past generation of Democrats, isn't it?
So does Senator
The new
Biden.
ones are run by the left. Yeah, back in the days. Right. Now the party is run by the hard left, and they're determined to keep the spending level up, will not cut it, and they insist you can have cash, but welfare for doing nothing.
Sure.
That's the way they are.
And Stuart, we have heard about how dire it would be if we defaulted, obviously. But the president has gone to Japan for the last 5 or 6 days. He's been out of pocket. Peter Doocy asked the press secretary while he was over there with her, the last time we came to this place in American history was 2011. The president was Barack Obama. The vice president was Joe Biden. Barack Obama said, Joe, you go negotiate. So Peter asked, why doesn't the president trust Kamala Harris to run the negotiations? And she disagreed with the premise of his question.
Yeah. Look,
there was a WNBA game she had to go to.
Look, I have no doubt that there's going to be a deal here. At some point, they're not going to default on a loan. The problem is that as you run up towards a deal, you establish the fact that we're going to be very heavily in debt just a couple of months or years down the road.
Of course.
And we're going to have a debt crisis. Now, back in 2011, we were downgraded. We used to have AAA, the gold standard of legitimacy, right. AAA rating.
I remember that.
We dropped that to AA+ because Moody's thought we can't get our debt in order. Well, you've got exactly the same situation now. Even if you get a deal, we can't get our debt in order. Pretty soon, we're going to be spending $3 billion a day paying interest on our debt. Can you imagine that?
Wow.
$1 trillion a year, almost $1 trillion a year. That's what looms. Even if you get a debt deal, and they will get a debt deal, down the road, that's what you're facing. Do you think America can take $1 trillion a year going in interest payments on our debt, a lot of it to foreigners?
That's a crisis.
I watched the problem
$250,000 per person in the United States.
Yeah, there you go.
I watched the problem solvers to our two representatives, Brian Fitzpatrick and Josh Gottheimer. And he says you should set up something like a Simpson Bowls again. Separate it, totally empower it on how to cut non-discretionary spending. Right. And then that's the only thing that's going to get a house in order because it's too politically volatile for anyone to say, I'm going to cut this program. Oh, you don't like old people. I want to cut this program. You don't like sick people. And to make it a political cartoon, if we could separate it, put it to a Blue Ribbon Council, and be subjected to following it, that might be the key.
But it's a time-honored political trick, isn't it? You've got a tricky issue facing you. So what do? You appoint a commission.
Sure, of course.
Let the commission report. It reports, and then you say, well, I'm not quite sure we want to do that. That's exactly what might happen all over again. Well, it's like reparations in California. Newsom says, what a tricky issue that is. So let's appoint a commission. They appoint a commission, it comes up with its ideas, and he says, well, we'll think about that. Same thing with what you're talking about.
Like Simpson Bowls was ignored.
Could be it was ignored. Same thing happens again. You've got a debt crisis coming down the road, and it's going to be serious.